Elfverson started acting early in childhood. And she continued to do so through her years of studies at Stockholm Film School and New York Film Academy. But after a while, she got more and more involved in the production side. Mi has experience from Swedish state TV, from casting and producing movies, from commercials and fiction to documentary and TV. She has also worked as a professional still photographer. With this broad spectrum of experiences in TV and movies, she started the Vlog Academy 4 years ago in London. The Vlog Academy is a competence center for everything connected to vlogging, helping you to start, to make a strategy for your vlog, to build it, to get an audience, and how to communicate with it, and so on. Vlog Academy is doing workshop and personal training, mostly aimed at big companies and businesses. As we all know, TV is constantly losing ground for internet streaming and YouTube. These are platforms of communication that now is getting accessible for more or less everyone. And in the context of polyvocality, of new means and platforms of expressions, of creating new personas and performative identities, we find vlogging extremely interesting for us. So therefore, I'm happy to welcome Mi Elfverson. Have a seat.
Hello.
Yeah, I mean, we are mostly here theater nerds and artists, so it would be nice to just start with some basic definition of what a vlog actually is. I mean, we're sure we have some ideas, but...
Yeah, I'm sure the younger audience has a good idea of what vlogging is, but I will give you a quick introduction to what a vlog is, a video blog. I guess you can say it's a development from the written blog format, which used to be a journal, someone sharing their day or experience. For a business, a blog is usually teaching something or giving you top tips for something. But the history of vlogging developed a different format, really, of the journal, and it went a bit crazy. So if we could start the movie, to see if I can show you an example here of the development of video blogging, because the history of vlogging isn't that long. It's probably about 15 years now, and it started when particularly boys were playing computer games at home, in their bedroom, just having a play. But then when technology allowed them to share what they were doing on their screen and have a chat with their mates as they were playing and record that and then upload it to YouTube and other streaming platforms, that's when things started kicking off, because other kids or adults who were playing the same games, and we're talking Minecraft or Lego games, any computer games that were popular at the time, they would be watching these cheat videos and find out, just click play, and find out how to get to the next level. So when they could start communicating and say, so yeah, where are you? Oh, I'm on level 2. You're level 2? How do you get up to level 2? Well, if you go around the corner, there's a lever, and you pull that, and you're catapulted up to the next level. Like, oh, thank you, that's really, really good. So they were helping all the other people who were watching these video games. So does anyone know who this guy is here? Just shout it out. PewDiePie. PewDiePie is the most subscribed YouTuber in the world. Even since this video was made, it's gone up to 63 million subscribers. He's actually Swedish, but he lives in England. And the girls were doing more cooking, makeup, haul videos where they went out to buy things, took it back home and showed what they had bought. So they were growing. It was quite gender specific. The boys were doing games, pranks, and football performances, and the girls were doing more girly stuff, I guess. So it just exploded online as a form of, well, in the beginning, just sharing what you were doing and your interest and your passion. Because these girls and boys, they weren't told by anyone to play a computer game 8 hours a day. They just did it because they enjoyed it. But now, PewDiePie here, who we just saw, he is supposed to have a $15 million turnover a year. So that's $15 million a year for playing computer games, and now he's become more of a performer.
But
So
he's still playing computer games and commenting what he's doing?
No, he's kind of left that, so he's more
Okay.
of a showman now. But he's still the #1 YouTuber, and yeah, it's become a business. And so Ella, who we saw here, who is one of the, she started very young. She's still vlogging. She's given out 3 books, and her brother Joe Sugg has 2 or 3 Hollywood movies out now after having been just vlogging. So these are what we now know as YouTubers, and they were vlogging, but they have become businesses. What's now happening is that the businesses are picking up that there is a value in doing video blogs. So of course the retailers started showering these kids with products, because one mention of a lipstick in Zoella's video could generate 10,000 sales the next day. So now she has her own beauty brand as well out in the shops. So video has grown to become a sales tool, and one of the most important ones of all.
And now the examples you mentioned now is like seems to be bloggers that create a form of identity, a persona on internet, in mainly YouTube, I assume, and use this identity to kind of start to also sell other products.
Yeah.
Is that
Yep.
that kind of how it often works?
Yeah, usually they have their own products and T-shirts and cups and caps and anything really connected to their brand. But then if you're a business, you can do a similar thing by growing your online presence and selling other types of products, which might not necessarily be physical products, but teaching or templates or support.
Okay, so when we talk about like the spectrum of vlogging, what can it be and still be a vlog? I mean,
yeah,
do you have
it's a
some?
good question. I mean, my company is obviously called the Vlog Academy. If I had to pick a new name now, it would probably have changed already, because it's not as much about vlogging anymore. It is about general video communication and online video. So a vlog, I mean, it's become a generic term almost, but I don't really think that for a business you're necessarily vlogging. You might be doing promotional video almost, or social media video. But I mean, for the YouTubers, they range from, well, gamers, as we already seen, to makeup, to a lot of comedians. Comedy and pranks is one of the biggest category on YouTube. So the biggest female YouTuber, who's called Yuya, I think, she's a comedian, and she just, you know, they share, and some of them have very clear characters that they stick to, and some, you know, drift between different characters and setups and scenarios. For a business, there are a lot of different types of videos you could do, because it depends on what platform you're going to show the videos on, and that depends on what kind of business you are. So if you are, I have a lot of executive coaches I work with as a personal brand, and their prime platform would be LinkedIn. Whereas if you are someone who's making children's accessories, you might be on Pinterest or Instagram. So you really need, and that's why we have a video strategy department that looks at where your specific business needs to hang out, and where your followers are really, and what type of videos you should be creating for that platform, because they're all different.
This is interesting, the platforms and the strategies. I really want to dig more into this, but I'm still trying to kind of, for me, the genre of vlogging is somehow connected to the talking head, looking into
Yeah.
the camera. Is
Yeah.
that the kind of basis of vlogging? Is that correct?
A lot of it is still talking head, and that's why I think it was possible for me to create the courses, the training courses, to teach people how to do it themselves. Both because you only need your smartphone, which is sufficient for YouTube and Facebook, if it's a relatively updated smartphone, and you can do it yourself. You don't have to have that massive big team anymore, and you don't have to film other things and edit it. You can just have a short piece where you're talking directly to the camera.
Which you film yourself. So
Yeah.
this concept of I am here alone, communicating with the camera, is sort of the basis of vlogging, if I understand correctly.
Yeah, I would say so.
And it's a very interesting, I mean, for us as artists and theater people, it's interesting that, I communicate to something which is not there. It's just a camera. And that's who I interact with, let's say.
Yeah.
And in this process, of course, there are being created characters, performative identities, or personas, or whatever we call it. These characters that now starting to exist in YouTube and in the public arena, and somebody getting really known and famous, as you mentioned. How are they being created? Are they being created like consciously, or is this just? Do they know what they're doing, or does it just happen when they go along? And what do you think?
I don't know, because I think it varies. There are billions of people doing it, and obviously there are going to be all varieties. So I think for most of them, it's probably developed from them having an interest in something, and then the character will be adapted to that interest. So if you are a comedian who are joking about or making pranks, you're going to have a cheeky something sort of characters, whereas if you are someone who's talking about your depression, even if you go into a character to do that, it's going to be a completely different character. So I think naturally you already have a diversion from the start. But then as a business coach, I would say to anyone, if you look at the statistics, which is great on YouTube, you do get fantastic statistics. You can actually see what are my most popular videos, which video had most likes. Well, then maybe I should do more of that. And I think that goes for the character as well, that just as well as you're on stage and you get a response from the audience, you get more likes or comments from particular videos where perhaps that character was showing through stronger. And then you will, obviously, the next video, you'll probably be more in that character, I would imagine.
So there is a very specific, what we talked about earlier, feedback loop. There's a constant feedback loop
definitely.
From the audience, whether it's like, or I assume comments, or even, I don't know if vloggers response to other vloggers, if there is kind of vlogging dialogue. Yeah,
there is. Their collaboration is quite business-minded people's tool to grow their audience. But I think what we've been working with in the workshop here during the festival is to try and work out how we deal with the character you go online with. Do you need to have that set already? Who do you want to be? Who do you want to be in life? Who do you want to be as an actor? What type of roles do you want to play? Do you want to be just doing comedy? Well, then maybe it's a good idea to do as much comedy as you can if you're not interested in melodrama or whatever it could be, to show that you are a really good comedian, or that's the niche you have chosen. So it's a really good opportunity to niche yourself if you want to almost typecast yourself for a certain niche. If you don't want to do that, of course you can show different work, different methods, and different types of plays you've done or films you've done to have a broader base if you're looking for work from casting directors and directors to pick up.
So in your workshop, you're more working with how to kind of promote yourself as an actor precisely, or is it more open?
It's a few different parts. So the one thing I wanted to teach is the technical part. So the attendees, the group can learn how to raise the quality of their video blogs. Because no matter what you do, if you have to send off an auditioning to a casting director, the better sound and light and the better the video looks, I think your chances automatically grow a bit bigger rather than you feeling worried about the technical stuff and having no light and rubbish audio.
Do you need a lot of stuff?
Pardon? No, you don't need a lot of things. That's the whole point. I've got 5 top tips. If you look at the Oslo Acting Festivals, Instagram and Facebook, my top 5 tips are there. And then sorry, that's more general, actually. I've got 5 top tips for equipment as well. So it's just fairly
Could you just
cheap.
mention a couple of them now?
So obviously, most of you have a phone already, so use your smartphone. That's fine. And then you can connect a little clip-on microphone, and they don't have to be expensive. So just making sure that it works with an Apple phone, if you have that, so read the spec, because then you're going to have a better audio quality, and you're going to cancel out a lot of surround noise. A video light is great, and it doesn't have to be very expensive or complicated to set up. The group has been trying it out and working with it. It's been a massive difference, and it also it gives a sharper a picture, and also it brings out the colors, so it does a few things. And it's important that your eyes reflect the light, because obviously the eyes are the windows to our soul. And a tripod is great to stabilize the camera and free your hands. That's all really you need for a start.
And once you know how to set up this, you can do that quite fast?
Yeah.
Is it once you have started and then you start to do this, how have people normally chosen what they're gonna do before they start a vlog? Is it like, does it normally start up like a diary sort of?
No, not necessarily. And again, me coming from business, we work out what they need to be talking about. And you don't look at what you want to give the audience. You look at what is the audience asking for. So if for people who work with blogging, which has been around for a longer time, it's a very similar strategy. So you have a keyword, and the title is really important, because how people find your video in a so-called organic search on Google or YouTube. Some people bypass Google now if we want to see a tutorial. So, for example, if I want to know how to enhance eyes in Photoshop, I would rather watch a video about that rather than read up on it on Google. So I go straight to YouTube to watch a tutorial. So it's really important that you title the video so your audience can find you. So then you would need to call your video "How to Enhance Eyes in Photoshop," not just some tips on editing. Yeah, so that part is really important to think about. And as an actor, again, you would need to think, what is the purpose for my videos? Who do I want to reach? Am I going out as myself, promoting myself as an actor and showing different parts or extracts from films and theater that I've done? Or am I going to play a part? Am I going to be a character with another name even? But of course, you can have different channels as well. So you could have one personal one and one in character.
Have your students here produced something yet?
They've started doing a lot of videos, and to work on the quality, and I like to try and scale off all acting. So we've been working with personal stories and memories to be themselves as much as possible in front of the camera, because once you have that, you can return to that much easier in the future. And then we are going to work actually with Thales text from maybe even today and tomorrow, and then try out
something else.
more exciting stuff which could be developed. We have no idea where that's going to go, obviously, so that's exciting. So keep practicing to raise the quality of everything, so they know about the composition and the light and everything. And then we're going to practice doing interviews as well, because one great format is cast interviews under development of a show, because people love seeing behind the scenes as well, and that's a great part. If you look at the National Theatre's YouTube page, they have many, many, many playlists. I think I have if you go forward to, these were just some reasons to start vlogging. Yeah, this is the National Theatre in England. So you can see how many playlists, they have really latched onto this. They get it, how important it is to have a video presence online. So they got both showpieces and extracts from their plays and performances. They got Ibsen, actually, they got Chekhov extracts, and they talk about careers. But then you can see down towards the bottom, they also have videos about set design. They have a whole playlist with the costume department. So for people who are interested in that part, they can go and watch the videos as well. So there's so much to do. If you go to the next slide, please, Christina. This is actually the Circus University in Stockholm, and they've put together little extracts from. I mean, they got amazing visual material, obviously, of the student practicing different things. So for the prospective students from around the world, they can see what actually happens within that the class that they are applying for. Should we go to the next one? Yeah, and then obviously it's YouTube as a new stage for theatre. I think that you've got an amazing opportunity to develop productions and put them on YouTube and have a lot of fun with it.
You refer to, when you talk, you also kind of contextualize it also as a kind of branding or business strategy. So it's obviously kind of business related, the way of thinking and using. And when you train businesses using vlog to reach as much people as possible with the messages, what kind of stories is being shaped?
Yeah.
What is the focus? What kind of advices do you give?
Yeah, storytelling is really important at the moment in business. The big businesses and the CEOs of businesses are actually stepping in front of their brands and logos. Previously, we've had big brands, but you never see the people behind it. But now we know more about the people behind it than ever, because they know that the more they show faces, the more credible they're going to be. And people, it creates trust. And the storytelling is, if we go back to the 70s, there was a lot about, I'm not going to market that. Wish I had a Oslo Acting Festival cup, but it would be, buy this is really good for you. You need to buy this now, right? And then it developed, so it was more, are you feeling thirsty? Well, then maybe you should try, this. Whereas now it's more about, do you want to be a fulfilled person and make the most out of your health and your lifestyle? Look at Anna here, who has been drinking this for 7 years. The success stories, right? So we are fed up with being sold to. But when the brain hears success stories, which are very much based on the classic, the traditional way of storytelling that we've been working with in theatre and film for hundreds and hundreds of years, with the problems to solve. And for a business, it would be, how can we help them? How can we help this, the hero of the story who's suffering and going into battle for various reasons, to support them to come out of that journey as both a better person and happier person. So we're telling other people's success stories in business rather than saying, I'm good, I'm successful.
So it's a shift to the character from the product somehow.
Yes.
And the characters becomes a kind of vehicle to sell the product.
Yep.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I was just also thinking on my Spotify, which is constantly saying, aren't you tired of listening to commercials? It's a kind of anti-commercial.
Yes, exactly.
Just
but they still want you to buy the full premium.
Annoying me in order to buy premium. That's all. There is no commercials anymore. It's just saying that, aren't you tired of hearing this message? That's interesting. It's a lot of new strategies.
Yep. Got to be more and more clever about it.
but still, I mean, even though it's like business related, a lot of the thinking in the field of vlogging, it would also be interesting to think a little bit about, or talk a little bit about how can we as artists kind of claim ownership over this field as well? Is it possible to, can vlog be art?
Absolutely.
Or is it doomed to use it to promote art, or I don't know.
It's a typical artist question, isn't it?
Yes.
Because art can't be commercial. But even if you're not making money from it, it is an art, it's a stage, isn't it? It's a way of getting your material out without having a producer or a production company or theatre.
Yes.
You can do it yourself, even if you have a small theatre group. You can put up a performance that you don't have to hire a venue or a crew to film it. So I think it's an amazing opportunity. But then obviously you need to think as an artist, as an actor. If you're going to have a career, you are in effect a personal brand. You are your own business, and how far you're going to take that, that's for you to decide. That's for the individual to decide how much they're going to market themselves. Because of course here we also have the famous jantelagen, the law of jante, which is a very Scandinavian thing that I think most artists are familiar with, that you're not actually allowed to promote yourself or be successful, because people are going to say, who do you think you are then? Oh, you think you're good, do you? Well, I can tell you, you shouldn't be on that stage because you're pretty rubbish. Just don't think. You're not actually rubbish, but you just shouldn't be doing that because you think you are someone, yeah? So I think in Scandinavia, it's a very big concern. Whereas if you go to America, that's the first thing you learn at school. You know, it's stage performance and selling yourself and speaking and talking, selling yourself really. So we have a big lack of that confidence build in school and in society as well, which is very humble in a way, but also sad, because the individual is constantly, I've felt this a lot in my own personal life where I grew up. So I felt that I wasn't ever good enough, and I couldn't be myself either, really. So.
And I mean, the Scandinavian, or to a certain extent European system of artists have for quite a long time been institutionalized. The whole business. I mean, you come out from the theater school and you get a job on an institution and so on and so on. But obviously, more and more artists need to kind of promote themselves. They need to start to, one way or the other, brand themselves, which is an extremely uncomfortable process, especially for artists that are, normally left wings and thinking anti-capitalistic, and think that even starting to work with this process of promoting myself is just uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so how to enter this kind of way of thinking or working without losing integrity, or starting to, having to vote for Erna Solberg, or.
Well, I think that's why it's such a beautiful medium to do it, because you can do it without selling yourself. You can just show your qualities, and also you can be very selective with what you show. Like all other social media, we only show our best stuff and the things we are interested in. So, I mean, I know from working with actors as a casting director, how hard it was for them to come in even to the office, to us, and present themselves. So I think it is two completely different qualities sometimes, or skills. They can stand on the national stage and do Hamlet for 2 hours without a script, but they can't rehearse even a presentation of 2 minutes. So I think going into where they are comfortable, if that's a character. So I have a person in our group who was uncomfortable with going out as herself, but she has explored a character of the confident teacher, which is still herself, but she steps into the role of someone who is confident, which is really, really interesting, I think. So for an actor, perhaps that's a way of thinking, to step into a character where they are confident. And that might not be their true naked personal persona, if we call it. It might be a slightly different version, still true to yourself, but something that works better for your confidence.
So it's basically to just enter a role and to deal with this role.
I think it can be helpful.
Do you have some examples from your students with you, or?
I do actually. I have. It was a bit of it's been a struggle with the Wi-Fi, but if we can go to, is it the next one? So what we have done, the first thing I let my students do is to record a quick video on their phones, just presenting themselves, who they are, what's their name, what do they do, and why are they here. So the first image that we saw. This is Maria, and she didn't want us to put the first image up very much for very long, and also not to run it, because that's how embarrassed she was about it. But already here on the second video, after picking up a few tips and tools, you can see that it's a completely different story. Look at her eyes, they are amazing, and the light, and the story she's done. Do we have time to run her story?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah? So if you go back to the beginning of that video and let it run.
Ja, når jeg var liten så vokste vi delvis opp i Lofoten, som jo en liten fiskelandsby oppe i Nord-Norge. Og broren min, storebroren min, han brukte å fange krabber for en kokk som han solgte til han da og fikk penger for det. Og så en dag så visste jeg om at han drev og fanget de her krabbene. Så han drev og fanget de og puttet de i en sånn liten plastbøtte. Så for de ned i bøtta der og slåss med hverandre, og jeg syntes veldig, veldig synd på de krabbene. Så jeg bestemte meg for at jeg skulle redde dem. Så jeg tok den bøtta og begynte å springe. Og da var det jo flere av jentene i bygda som så at det her skjedde, og ville være med på redningsaksjonen. Og det som var veldig spesielt med det her, var at vanligvis i bygda så hadde man jo de faste ungene som man lekte med. Og noen lekte man jo aldri med. Men akkurat denne dagen så ble liksom alle gjengene slått sammen for denne aksjonen å redde krabbene fra guttene. Ja, fordi broren min også fikk jo med seg alle guttene i bygda. Så her var det full krig mellom guttene og jentene i bygda. Redde krabbene versus å drepe krabbene, som var initiert av meg og broren min. Vi sprang, og de var rett i hælene på oss, og vi klarte å gjemme oss inn i et lite skur, og så hørte vi at guttene gikk forbi og sånn her, og sa sånn, hvor er de? Visket liksom, og skulle ta oss da. De gikk forbi, og vi klarte å smette oss ut av skuret, og løpe med den bøtta som skvulpa da, veldig, ned til havet, og fikk kastet ut krabbene og reddet dem. Og det som gjør det her til et så godt minne, jo, det har jo forblitt en del av meg, det å være glad i dyr og ta vare på natur og sånn. Men det som var det gøyeste med den historien for min del, hvordan vi jentene og guttene i bygda ble liksom, at hele dagen handlet om den leken da, som ikke var en lek.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It's a nice little
beautiful story.
The story, yes.
And that's just holding her mobile phone, filming herself. So
holding it.
Yeah, she's just holding it up outside in the daylight. And the task was the second task, just to tell a personal story, a memory from childhood, to again be yourself.
But even for an actor, or maybe especially for an actor, to not have any feedback while you do anything, you know, it's just a camera. How to work with that as an obstacle? Yeah,
I think that's probably quite hard to not have a director or anyone looking after you and saying anything, or even an audience.
Just somebody that is responding to it.
Yeah. So I think the way, the recommended way is to record the video and then send it out to a few trusted people first before you go out publicly to the rest of the world.
But I'm also just thinking about the situation, like I'm talking into a black thing, not to a human. How do I do this situation, which is not like there is no interaction there. Interaction comes later. How do I work with the lens?
Yep.
How do I think? How should I talk into a lens?
black hole that
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
staring into, which represents the whole world and the universe. I think we need to visualize who we're talking to. So for a business person, I would always say, talk to one person, don't talk to the whole world. And I mean, let's not flatter ourselves. Most of the time, it's not going to go viral. It's only a few people who are going to start watching us in the beginning anyway. So if you choose the person you really like, who likes you, and just talk to that one person. Because most of these talking head videos, they're also watched in a lonely situation as a person. They're not watched like this. So it might be a person with headphones on the train in the morning, and you don't want someone shouting or going crazy there. It's a very personal connection, like a chat almost in many cases. So if you try and visualize who you are talking to, then with practice, again and again and again, you start to be able to forget about that black hole and connect with the audience, and then eventually you get the feedback from that audience, so you actually get that two-way communication once it's up and running.
Yeah, the vloggers I've been watching is like I'm curious to know whether these people, like, if they acting wise, and I'm thinking like a little bit nerdy from an acting perspective, is like, are they like, do they really deal with the ones they are talking to in this thing? Do they know, or is it or do they just pull on an act sort of? It's like,
Yeah, again, I think it varies. I think that the YouTube stage is wide open for trained actors to do stuff. I think the new generations, they grow up with FaceTime and Skype, and they talk to their mates live on camera all the time, so they're very used to talking into a gadget. My son will be sitting playing a game on the computer while actually having a friend on live FaceTime next to him. So I think it's easy, it's integrated for them.
is it mainly improvised sort of, or do some use this teleprompter, or?
I don't think a lot of vloggers use teleprompters or auto cues. Some of them are very scripted, though. Some have big props and they stage things. So obviously that takes time to create as well. But I don't think they obviously think through what am I doing this week, and some of them, they vlog every single day, and it's just their journal of their day, so they can't script it. Whereas some who are more conscious about what they put out there, they will be more scripted. But teleprompter, I don't think that many have.
If you look at the field of vloggers today, are mainly using it to kind of, you know, as you say, you're selling something, you're becoming a brand. Is there somebody also using it as a platform for politics, for changing things, for activism and so on? Is there a lot of examples like this?
Yeah, it's coming as well. I mean, I've been trying to get some politicians, some people in politics who I know, to understand how they could grow with the video blogs. And I think it is an amazing tool for people who want to make changes, because they can really speak out and reach a larger audience. If you're put in an interview situation on news, you will always be cornered one way or the other. You will always have to say particular things. But if you have your own time and you can go out and give updates and news and information, it's an amazing, amazing tool. And they do it. I mean, you see Greenpeace are posting a lot of videos about when they're out on their action campaigns. And we know that those stories resonate with people as well. They show what's happening, you know, animal rights. They show the suffering animals. And that's a very quick way for people to respond. So, yeah.
We know that, I mean, Trump's most important tool was obviously Twitter, right? So, I mean, we probably...
Very successfully.
Yeah, and we will probably see a blogging politician, I assume, sooner or later.
Yeah.
I mean, it, as you say, it might be an extremely effective tool to have the feeling that you're connecting to people personally.
I think it's a big step, even for a politician, to go out, because you will, of course, be attacked as well. You will have a lot of, I mean, I've never come across with anyone I've worked with trolling. That it's not been an issue. It's something that a lot of people are worried about, that people are going to be negative and say nasty stuff. I've had one somewhat negative comment once, and it was from a 12-year-old. So I don't think as neutral people we need to worry that, but obviously as a politician you do put yourself out there for criticism as well. So I guess you do need to be strong if you do that.
I could go on and ask nerdy questions all day, but I think we should now open up for the audience. I'm sure you have some things you wonder about connected to vlogging, or yes.
As a participant at vlogging workshop with me, I just have a comment. I think this workshop is very useful and practical for actors, because it helps you to understand the part of acting business reality today. And what I find for myself very useful is how to make self-tapes and how to really start promoting yourself and making good auditioning. So you don't need to actually go to audition. So you can do it at home, and you can do it just like arrange your office, home office, and send it to your audition, your self-tape to, let's say, America or London, and you can be still based in Oslo. So for me it's very inspiring, and it's full of knowledge how to make it both practically and technically and creatively.
It's good to hear.
So thank you so much for that. And so maybe I just open a discussion about how to balance between art, so creative part, and business part, how to make them work together and like make them organic. So you're still artist, you're still actor, while you're you have to be business. You have to do your business. You have to keep moving this way. Otherwise, you'll stay back, because we live in nowadays we are part of this huge internet society. So that's
it is the tricky dilemma we've been talking a lot about this week. The fine line between being an actor and a brand, and how far you're going to push it. And I think it is very individual and personal. Each and everyone needs to make that choice and test it, and not go full out immediately maybe, but think very carefully about where you stand with that. But any input or advice or ideas that we can work with for this, for actor, are very, very welcome. Yeah.
I'm wondering about there's always a lot of criticism connected to this, the way that we have stopped talking to each other eye to eye, and now we're just talking to each other through the screen. How does that affect our art? Could you say something about that?
Yeah, I think it's a very valid question, and obviously a big debate at the moment with social media going crazy. Personally, I need to tell you that I'm very pro social media because I love it. I have moved around the world for so long that I would have lost touch with everyone, including my family, if I hadn't had social media and FaceTime and email. So for me, it's incredibly valuable. I'm also feeling quite lonely sometimes because I travel for work. So when I put my photos up or videos up, I get a response. So that feedback is really valuable for me. And as a photographer, I take photos and I get artistic response on my photos. So it is a show ground for my photography as well, which is amazing. So I don't think it has to be destructive for an art form at all. I think I'm always on the positive side, so I always like to see things positively. So we're talking about the polyvocal actor, and it's a problem for some people, and what do we do with this? I see it as a massive opportunity and a really great thing to explore. An opportunity to, I mean, I don't know if any actor want to stay small and not be seen. It seems like a contradiction. Maybe there is a variety of that, but most actors need to grow their presence in their city or country, right? It would probably be mostly that people want to be more known. So it's an opportunity. And then where the art come, if it's negatively affected, not necessarily.
But there is a difference, though. I mean, negative or positive, I have no idea. But I mean, the fact that I have identity on social media is right now somebody is trying to maybe understand something about me on Facebook. I don't know, you know. So there is something going. I have an identity out there which is disconnected from my body and from my present, which is kind of new in history.
Yeah.
How does it change us? I mean, it must do something with us.
Well, just taking one step back, for me, video, I see video as a new revolution of communication. So we previously, the last big communication revolution, not last one, but one big one, was the book, the printed book, when we could start spreading our word around the world. And that's detached from the person as well. Even if you write your biography, it's detached from you. And it's an art form that is interpreted by each and every person who reads that book.
Plato said they would stop to remember things when they start to write.
Sorry, say again?
Plato
said
that people would stop to remember things now, since we have writing. No, he really said that. He was afraid of the possibilities of people's memory. And maybe it changed people's memory, I don't know.
Well, I think, it's possible, but I think that what we're worried about now with kids watching videos all the time and just being on social media and communicating, I mean, they're more switched on than ever. They take in so much information. They're so knowledgeable. And our brains pick up an image 60,000 times quicker than the written word. So imagine what you can do with a video, which is packed with, it's a multi-layer of image, text, music, audio, everything. And I think that I could go to the extent of saying that it's an insult to the brain not to allow kids to watch videos, which is not obviously what there's a limit. But did I remove the question from the art again?
No, that's good. Some other questions or comments or argues or whatever? Social media, blogging, internet, communication. Yes.
What blogging software would you suggest?
Vlogging software?
Yeah, what's your favorite?
Well, I personally record either on my smartphone or I have a bigger, because I do professional video as well, so I have a bigger camera that I record on. And then I transfer that and I edit. I'm a Mac person, so I edit on Final Cut Pro 10, which is the Mac version of Adobe Premiere Pro, if you like. And then I just upload the finished clip depending on where I want it to go, if that's Facebook, YouTube, or a group. So that's what I do.
Yeah, like a blog page per se, there's not a software that, like where you're working with a particular software, like a month-to-month basis, you get a subscription and then...
I can't really hear what you're saying, Paul, I'm sorry.
Well, for example, let's say you're selling a product, so you have a place where you can list certain aspects. Let's say you have manuals or podcasts or things of that nature. At the end of it, they'll provide the service and the marketing.
Sure.
That kind
of so if you're a business, then of course you'll have your website as the foundation. And if you're selling products, you will probably have a tab with a shop. So whatever video you do, you can always refer and link back to that shop directly and tell people with a call to action. If you want to buy this product, click on the link below or click on this link, depending on if you're on YouTube or Facebook, or read in the information below and click that link to get them to. So if you're a theater group, if you are putting out a video about an upcoming performance, you could have a link to the ticket sales page, wherever that is, and get people to click. That's why we have so many buttons on YouTube. They want you to click on to something else. If you have a blog, you can integrate videos there. If you are on LinkedIn, you can integrate YouTube videos really easily. And again, you can just do hyperlinks and get people to click on to where you want. But as a vlogger, your main platform would probably usually be YouTube. Is that helpful? Is that what you meant?
Yes, that's fine. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I just see that all these blogging software offering to to customers who want different levels of service, and part of the services are they're free or they're marketing. They'll offer you marketing services and so forth. They have different tiers, for example, of service.
I haven't used any vlogging softwares as such. You can use templates, and I know there are lots of editing tools even on a smartphone where you can integrate with. You can buy into stock images of video footage as well, so they specifically make it easier for businesses to find the type of videos or graphic design that you can just put on top of your video. So I need to look into is anyone here familiar with any video blog software specifically? Well, we need to look into that.
Yeah.
I'm actually learning to make videos, and I'm struggling because sometimes I didn't mean to have a story in my mind yet, but because everything is so good and I'm filming every day. So when it comes to, at the end of the day, I have the whole pile of videos, and then I start to make a story of it. So it comes very confusing. For example, I need to make a script for it, and I have to follow it, or I have to start with the videos and try to sort out the ideas for that. Or it comes from sometimes I listen to a very good soundtrack and I want to make something with it. So can you please give me an advice on which is the best to follow, the frame? So sometimes it's just something that makes me so deep in it, and then I forget other things.
It sounds very polyvocal, doesn't it?
Yeah. Do it all.
I think we need to let ourselves be inspired to a certain extent, but if it takes over and just confuses you, then you might have to go back to your thoughts you had in the morning where you had the structure clear. When you work with, feature films and theater plays, the traditional way, you always have a very strong script and a storyboard that you follow to make it easier throughout the day, because you have a lot of people with ideas and you can't let it go adrift because you might lose the core of it or you forget something. So personally, I would probably try and stay with the script or the ideas you have first, but still let yourself be inspired, because when you hear music, it can change things massively. So I don't have a straight question, but I'd love to see more what you're doing, and then I'm more than happy to have a conversation about it after if you want. Yeah. Do you have a YouTube channel?
Yes, I have.
Excellent. What's it called?
Actually, it's under my name, but I'm sharing my experience. I make a series of videos called Living a Hero's Life. So it starts from I make a vegetable garden in my hometown, but everybody opposite my opinion, because it's just for uneducated people to do farming or something like that. And I make that videos. At the beginning, it's just to show how I make the garden. But then the ideas come from, okay, you need to send a message to the community, you need to do something more. And then it just comes during the time I edit it, and the music comes and things come. And then I feel regretted, what if I say something at the beginning before I do it? So things starting missing a bit. So it's a bit regret at the end of it. I feel
Maybe you need to, how long are your videos normally?
Usually for that video it takes a few months, because for example doing something like a challenge,
Okay, but how long is the finished videos usually?
Finished video is about 2 minutes.
2 minutes, okay. Yeah, so you're keeping it short. It's a lot to get into 2 minutes then. Yeah, I'd love to talk to you and see your channel after. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a different question, but you were talking about the law of Jante, and that is something, I'm from Denmark, but it's something that really, I really recognize strongly from
It's
my
Danish.
It is Danish, yeah. We were saying yesterday, Øystein, you think it's Norwegian. All Norwegians think it's Norwegian, and the Swedes think it's Swedish. It's a book for those who want to know the facts. It was a book written in 1933, and it's a fictional book, but it's about a town called Jante in Denmark, isn't it? Yeah.
But Sander must have moved to Norway, though. We thought it was better here, actually. But anyway, go ahead. Your question.
So, yeah, do you think that it's changing, do you think, I know there's a reason why you opened a vlog academy in London and not in Scandinavia, but do you think that it could be a possibility for a vlog academy in Scandinavia to survive or blossom, or, yeah?
It's a really, really interesting question. I haven't actually studied the Norwegian vloggers, PewDiePie is Swedish, but he lives in England. I do think it does have an effect, and any, as we said before, artist or person who's very careful with how they are seen, they will have a reluctance to go out big. And it might be that it's quite hard here compared to in America. It could be that. But I still think that that's no reason. It's no reason to be told that you shouldn't do it. And I think that if you do something with passion and something that comes from a really deeply rooted interest and that is true to you, something that is authentic, no one can say that you shouldn't show that. No one should. That's the biggest, most powerful thing that I work with. It's to allow people to actually to express what they are all about and what their interests are. And when you see that happen, when you see people go out there and grow, and especially for women in business who find it really hard to sell things, but who have expertise and who are helping other people, and to see that they can go out on video and express themselves, it's amazing. It's beautiful. So I would hate anyone stopping themselves because of the Jantelag.
We don't have a strong culture of training or self-presentation in Scandinavia, for sure.
Definitely
and we
not.
Probably have a culture for at least playing humble.
Do you do it at acting school?
Self-presentation?
Do you practice self-presentation?
I don't know. I think I wouldn't say so that we work with that. No, I don't know.
Maybe
Gianluca,
just a 10-minute session on that every now and then
do you
could be
work with-
helpful.
We'll talk later about all this.
Okay.
I have.
Great. Okay, because you're gonna continue after with the debate, but we're gonna stop the interview now. Thank you, Me.
Thank you very much. Thank you.